makes most women start a business? Is it passion, money, or freedom? Welcome to Female Founders, the podcast that takes you behind the scene with women who are founders and CEOs to help you start and scale a successful business of your own. I am your host, Nagelia de Ravin. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Female Founders. In today's episode, I have the pleasure of speaking with Melissa Rutherford. Melissa is the CEO of 1620 Partners, LLC, and a strategy compliance consultant with extensive expertise in cannabis compliance and over 15 years of risk management experience. Join me as I learn how Melissa guides organizations through complex compliance challenges. Good morning, Melissa. It's great to have you with me today. Your background as a compliance consultant and your experience in guiding organizations are truly impressive, I have to say. So how did you get started in that industry, and why did you choose to focus on helping organizations in the cannabis sector?
I fell into it very backwards. I started in the reverse supply chain hemisphere, and I started doing verification checks. Not full auditing. And then that turned into auditing. And then that turned into traveling internationally. And then that turned into wanting to take those skills that I had learned, understanding ISO standards, such as quality and health and environmental safety, as well as managing supply chain several levels deep. I took it to fashion. I took it to footwear. And then ultimately, I had a job that was looking to have me relocate to the greater Atlanta, Georgia area. And I'm an ocean girl, so that was too inland for me. And I was headhunted into the legal cannabis industry in Massachusetts. And it was very interesting. I was, just starting the job. I'd had a conversation with the CEO. I said, everything you need from compliance, understanding the regulations, writing and documenting processes, I got that. I said, but I don't know anything about cannabis. I mean, my guidance counselor somewhere is like, Melissa Rutherford is doing what? I was pretty straight-laced and not perfect, but I was a pretty clean-nosed high school student. So this is definitely not what most people who know me would think of me as. But at that same point in time, my grandmother was entering her end stage of life with throat cancer. And she absolutely did not want any opioids for pain relief. She knew that she wouldn't be cognizant, that it could cause additional issues with herself. And she was happy to be in some level of pain to not be kind of a vegetable in a hospital room.
Yeah.
And she resided in Connecticut, and Connecticut had medical marijuana. So her advocate suggested we try that, and we did, which was definitely amusing. But I visited her about 4 days before she passed. It was the day Tiger Woods won his last golf tournament thing, whatever it is. My grandmother loved to watch golf. I play it. I don't quite understand watching it. It's fine. So I went and I spent the day with her, and she couldn't speak to me because of the cancer. But I talked to her. She nodded. She listened. She leaned forward. She was paying attention, and we had a day together. It was amazing. It was the most incredible end-of-life experience I've ever had with a member of my family. And I've had lots of hospital beeps and nurses and doctors talking behind their hands, and this was incredible. And I, whether or not I was convinced of its recreational value or not, this was not a Schedule I drug. That was completely apparent. And that really inspired me to throw myself into the vertically integrated company I was working for in Massachusetts. Spent 4 years with them, got them fully licensed, multiple locations, medical as well as recreational use for adults. Retail stores, cultivation facilities, product manufacturing facilities, delivery. It just was wonderful. And with a career in kind of setting up these kinds of programs, even though it was in reverse supply chain and fast fashion and footwear, cannabis is just I absolutely believe that this drug has value, or this plant, I should say, has value. The war on drugs was a failed experiment. It was, in my belief, very grounded in racism, and used to scare people as well as to segregate people, all of which is wrong. And so taking my skill sets, going out on my own, very scary, very exciting. But I can make a difference, and I can help people open businesses who are accidental business owners in some cases because they knew about the plant and they used the plant and they're perhaps legacy, almost always legacy, really. Market people trying to navigate one of the most heavily regulated substances on the planet. I think arms production and nuclear energy are the only things that have more regulation than a cannabis plant. And it's awesome when somebody gets their license, or it's awesome when I come in and I solve a problem or help them write a standard operating procedure that makes them more efficient, lets them be better at what they do. They have the passion for the plant. They know it. I understand the regulations, and I know how to help them and guide them through that process. It's awesome.
So you're saying that they have that many rules behind it?
Yes.
Just a plant, isn't it?
Just a plant. It is, at the end of the day, just a plant. No one has ever died from using cannabis. Here in Massachusetts is the Massachusetts Institute for Technology, more commonly referred to as MIT. They have a nuclear engineering program. Makes sense. They're an engineering college. They have a small nuclear power plant in Cambridge, Massachusetts, which is across the river from the capital, Boston.
Wow.
You can walk across a bridge between the two. It's not very far. And when you take the college tour, which as a tourist you can sign up for if you'd like to see the historic MIT campus, they will take you to the nuclear engineering building and they will point out the nuclear reactor and they will show it to you. And they don't let you play with the buttons and they don't show you the glowing rods, but you can see it. In legal cannabis in Massachusetts, we can have no windows. Not in a retail, not in a cultivation, not in a product manufacturing.
Hold on, Melissa. They can, but you guys cannot?
Correct.
Oh,
because
makes sense.
Because in an effort to protect the public from harm and protect children from cannabis, from a green plant, I know very few children who voluntarily put plants in their mouth. Like, we can't have windows. So it's so much fighting stigma and fear, and people who didn't grow up with it and who, were inundated under the war on drugs. It's gateway drugs. It's going to cause you to go crazy. It helps me take a nice nap. I mean, like, okay. And there's so much, because modern science hasn't touched the plant, that we don't know about it, and that it has lots and lots of opportunity. Yeah.
But the only thing I can keep thinking of the whole time is what happens if you go to that place and you just press the button. What will happen with that clear bomb?
I'm pretty sure they probably have fake buttons for the little kids, but no. You're 21, you have to have your ID checked a minimum of 3 times when you enter, when you purchase, when you go to make your purchase, when you go to pick up your purchase, and then you can leave.
Wow.
You're still in the building, you haven't left, and you're on security camera, but they need to see your ID one more time to make sure it's you.
That makes sense. I wonder if I brought someone with me in my bags while I was in there to make the exchange.
You're on camera the whole time and they document it.
Wow. I didn't realize that they make it such a big deal, really, when it's come to the cannabis world. It's just a plant. Yes. That's how I see it. I understand it can, if you overuse it, that can cause some issues. I think it's the same for any drugs. Even when you go to the hospital, let's say, for example, you're giving birth. You need, for less pain, you have to take all of these drugs inside your body. So at the end of the day, it's still drugs. It's so that actually have more effects. Some people die from it because it's too much for the body and the body cannot take it. So don't get me wrong, I never tried cannabis world. I don't know how it works really. But every time I seen it, it's always just a plant. So people always say, oh yeah, that's it. This is a plant. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So what's wrong with it? I can just cook with it then.
Yes, you can. Absolutely. One of the people that I worked with is a professional chef who was part of the legacy cannabis market, and he makes cannabis oil legally.
Cannabis oil?
Yes. And you can mix it, you can use it as a substitute for oil in salad dressing or in cakes. I mean, I would be careful because you could overdose yourself. So you need to know some math and be focused. But absolutely, you can cook with it. I know someone, again, from the legacy market who takes the large fan leaves, which are normally trimmed off and not used, and he makes pesto out of them.
Wow. Would you get drug if you cook it though? Wouldn't the drug will fade away at some point because of boiling and the water and things like that?
The oil will concentrate it. And so when you consume that, yes, you will get the psychedelic effects of it. The leaves themselves don't really have THC in them. And it is heat that activates THC. So you may get a small hit from it necessarily, or a small feeling. But for the most part, it's a very dense protein. I mean, the cannabis plant was used as part of a regular diet in Southeast Asia, where we've kind of historically, where scientists have historically traced the plant to its origins there, and it was just part and parcel of everyday life.
It was used as a diet. I mean, like to lose weight.
Huh. No, it's food. It's food. Like you could eat it.
You can eat it, but you don't get any weight from it. It's kind of like it's just like any other when you're having a salad and you're adding all this Spanish thing into it, right?
Flavoring or something particularly. I mean, obviously, you eat too much of anything, there you go. But yes. But it's a plant with all the normal uses for a plant. Hemp, which is not any different than cannabis scientifically, it is a legal definition that a hemp plant has 0.3% or less THC in it, i.e. you will get no high from it, is fabric. You can make newspaper from it. You can make paper from it. The Navy had to get dispensation for hemp ropes for their ships because they're the strongest. Like it's an incredibly versatile plant that people get really crazy about.
A lot of things can be done with it.
Yes, it can fit in everyday life.
But I know that you fall in love with it because of your grandmother, and it seems like that also leave a lasting moment into your life. That's something that you will live with for the rest of your life because of the way that you're able to spend a special moment with your grandmother. So did you have to go to school to learn all this regulation, all these things behind it, to be able to explain it to other people?
Yes and no. I hold a master's degree. I have education in my background that probably helped, but mostly what I have is curiosity. If a regulation says in black and white, you must do a monthly inventory, right? You must count your product monthly. Okay, you have to do it. Check it off, file it somewhere, turn it in when requested. But the regulation doesn't say how you do it. The regulation doesn't say what you do with the information that comes out of it. It just says you need to know your inventory on a monthly basis. And so I understand that the regulations are focused on public health and public safety. So the reason you have to do a monthly inventory is to verify that the cannabis is where the cannabis needs to be. It's in the room that it has been assigned to be stored in. It is growing in the place that it's supposed to be growing in. It is in a retail sales environment if that's where it's designated to be. And then it's looking to make sure that, basic inventory, I have 10 units here. Do I have 10 units here? They match? Great. So all the regs say are do an inventory. I help translate that for people on, okay, you have an inventory. What did it tell you? How are you filing it? Who are you notifying it? How are you comparing it to last month's? So I help them take that regulation and make it actionable, understandable. And well, yes, technically it is a burden. It's also a value. Because if you have seepage, you have two problems. You have a regulatory problem, but you also have profit loss. Nobody likes profit loss. So it's taking the regs and breaking them down into their parts to make them more actionable. Again, for people who, to some degree are accidental business owners. I never grew up with the thought that A, cannabis was anything I would do, or B, that it would ever be legal. Like it was this big mega monster, right? I grew up Just Say No, Punky Brewster, the whole nine yards. That is very much not the case today. So how do you take, I have a business, I have to pay taxes, I have to keep an inventory. How do you take all of that from somebody who just used it in the legacy market or grew it and sold it in the legacy market? And how do you organize all that? And all I help them do is get there. But to work in cannabis, you need curiosity, and you also need to understand that it's a job. Like we do not, I don't know why, but the thought process is everybody walks into the office as high as a kite and they just stay high all day. And that couldn't be further from the truth. We work hard, and we have to cannabis is a little more relaxed. There's definitely a lot more colorful. There's a lot less suits and a lot more casual. But you still have to write a report. You still have to count your inventory. You still have to have process and procedure. You still have to have quality. You're making medicine for someone. It needs to be checked and verified. So curiosity, general interest in the plant helps, or at least interest in learning about it. And then, basic skills.
Basic skills. And also, I think that it's a business. You still need clients. So yes. That's the second problem.
Yeah, there needs to be a problem, and then you need to solve it. And
yes,
on the regulatory side, that's what I do, and that for some people is a huge, because it's not black and white. It doesn't come with directions, and the regulations tend into the hundreds of pages, so that can get complicated very quickly.
So now, as the CEO of 1620 Partners LLC, can you share the mission and the vision behind the company?
Yes. Our mission is to bring the regulations to those who have the passion behind the plant. And we're bridging that passion to those regulations. So we take the effort and the hard work and it says X, what do I do out of it? And you're growing your plant. I can't grow a tomato plant. Forget a cannabis plant. Like I have fake plants at home because I like a little green, but I can't keep ivy alive. Nobody kills ivy. I kill ivy. My sister-in-law, who's a wonderful, wonderful gardener, is just like, she just has given up on me, right? Like she doesn't even send me succulents anymore. So you go and do that, and I'm going to help you understand all of the things that are suddenly applicable to you because you are a legal business owner in the United States, like OSHA safety laws, product testing, making sure that your packaging and labeling hits 6 pages worth of regs that outline what it has to be. That's a lot.
Yes.
And if you're the CEO trying to grow a plant, turn it into an edible, or turn it into a chocolate bar, or turn it into a tincture or a salve, and then you're trying to open a retail store, the last thing you need to be doing is bottle washing. And I come in and help you with the bottle washing. I help you with understanding your labels, helping you with your packaging, helping you document your standard operating procedures, training, and then I go around and check and make sure that everybody's doing what they need to do. I can do your inventory and your auditing for you so that you can be comfortable that if an investigator comes in to check, to verify what's going on, that you are doing it because somebody else has already looked at it before you end up with a corrective action or a notice of deficiency and a $50,000 fine.
Did you say 50,000?
50,000. I am a
Wow.
lot cheaper than a $50,000 fine. I'm not cheap, but I am less expensive than the $50,000 fine.
That's a lot of money, especially if you're new in the business.
Yes, absolutely. And in some cases, business owners who aren't open and growing, manufacturing, or selling products have been paying rent for years. So you can't afford a $50,000 fine because you're already in the red.
So it's a plant, so which means that the business owner needs to grow that plant, and then that might take a few, let's say, months, years for it to grow.
Depends on what. So there's different aspects to the plant, right? And so they run for different periods of time. You can have 9-week plants, 12-week plants, and some people stretch it out to 15 or 16, 4 months. They let it grow a little bit longer. It all depends on what type of plant you're growing. Is most cannabis is hybrid. We had cannabis sativa and cannabis. I've lost my mind. Indica, cannabis sativa and cannabis indica. And they've been crossed so often, there really isn't available a true indica or a true sativa, but each plant had certain aspects to it. One is shorter and stubbier than the other one. One grows very, very tall and gets very, very wide. They take different times to come to full growth for the cannabis resins, which is the part that you're looking for, and the terpenes that to ripen to get to their full value. So that's what you're looking for. So it depends on what type of plant you have, whether it leans one or the other, how long that cycle is going to be.
So pretty much at the beginning, it's more like business owners are making an investment at the beginning because they're not going to see any profit really until the plant is fully bloomed and able to go in the market for sale.
Right. And once you grow it, so say 3 months, then you have to harvest it, which takes another week or so. And then you have to cure it. You have to dry it, which can take another 2 to 3 weeks, again, depending on what you're looking for. In the legal market, you have to send it out for testing. And depending on how many testing laboratories are available to you and how busy they are, that could be another 2 to 3 weeks. And then once you have testing results back and you know what it is you have, you can package and label, because then you can sell it to the consumer. And without all of that, you can't sell it to the consumer. So the legacy market has an advantage over the legal market, because once it's dry, once they've achieved the cure they want to, they can just sell it and they don't have to test it.
Okay. But still, that's a long process and a long wait.
It is a long process. And it's very energy dependent.
And like you said, you might as well get everything done properly then do all that work and end up with a $50,000 fine. At
a minimum, yes. Yes, that's for one instance.
Oh, that's just for one. Okay.
Yes.
I guess every business at some point, we all have that different type of fine that we have to deal with. So I don't want people to feel discouraged if they want to open a business like that. It doesn't matter which kind of business you're going to start. You always will have some sort of fine that come with it if you don't follow the rules. That's just the way it is.
There's always a carrot and a stick. Yes, very much so.
So now, how do you keep up with the constantly change regulations in the cannabis industry to ensure your clients are always compliant?
It's I spend a lot of time reading. I spend a lot of time attending government meetings of regulatory bodies. In cannabis, we have here in Massachusetts, we have the Cannabis Control Commission. They have 2 meetings a month, so I try to attend those virtually or record them and watch them later. Same with New York has the Office of Cannabis Management. That's a mouthful. Again, try to watch their meetings either live and take notes or afterwards. There are a few organizations. Vicente is a law firm that does a lot of summaries for their clients, and they publish them on YouTube. So watch those, keep up with it. There are softwares that will support that information, that have the regulations, talk about the regulatory changes. But I actually enjoy reading the regulations, knowing what's different between the different states. seeing where they've pulled something from one state, but maybe made an improvement on how it works. I just have to laugh. Alabama is coming online and working with a potential client in Alabama. And so I'm reading the regs and yep, okay, training. Wow, they mandate some real training and significant hours. Okay, that's something to take a note of. And then it goes down to Alabama doesn't really have edibles. They allow cubes. It's a gummy, the cube.
Oh.
And a cube can be in two flavors, unflavored or peach.
Why peach?
I don't know, but that's the flavor. That's the only flavor. Peach. I'm like, a peach is a stone fruit. There are a lot of people who are allergic to it.
I don't like it.
So unflavored it is.
Or are they trying to push people not to buy it because they will not like it? The peach flavor, you know?
Wait, I don't know. I don't know. But that was one of the things that amused me no end when I read the regulations. It's like, okay, peach.
Peach.
Yep. All right. There you go. Peach is the flavor. Georgia is the peach state, but Alabama has peach the flavor.
Okay. Makes sense.
Sure. So, yeah, there's always interesting things in the regs.
So it sounds like you can help clients anywhere within the United States.
Yes. Yes. And I would very much like, and I'm looking for the opportunity to go international. Germany is getting ready to legalize. The UK grows it but doesn't sell it. Portugal has production. I'm not sure if they have medical sales or not, but they have production. So it's going to go international. It's just people are understanding the plant so much better now, realizing what the origins of the protests were, saying that was wrong and we need to fix this. It's going far more slowly than I would like, than anyone would like. Banking is ridiculously hard in the United States because it is a Schedule I drug. But I believe that will change. I believe all of it will change and probably in the next 3 to 5 years.
I hope so too, but it sounds like going international is your future goal for the company.
Yes.
But would you need to go in each different country? You will need some sort of license for it, or you don't know yet how that works?
We just don't know yet. Being a consultant here in the States means that I don't need a license, although my clients may want to badge me within their facilities. But what I do know is what the goals are, how to read a regulation, how to document a process, and how to train that process so that your facility is in compliance with your regulations, and so that your staff are trained and in compliance with your regulations, which means you get to sell your product.
But so now with your background in project management and you have all this type of skills that you put together to be able to help your client, so what advice will you have for business owners in the cannabis industry?
There's a lot of different advice. Some of it is be patient. Change is coming. All of it is that you need to be prepared and plan. I've been in some facilities that didn't account for people. They only built for the plants they were going to grow. So they lack storage. They lack spaces for people to meet. They lack the business of business opportunities. And go conservative. A sticker to start is fine. You don't need super fancy packaging to launch. Hit your regs, promote your brand, make sure you have rainy day fund, and you will survive. And hire 1620 to write your standard operating procedure.
And everyone getting a $50,000 fee.
Yeah, you don't want that, no. So
I was going to ask you another question, but I couldn't stop laughing when you say that.
No worries.
So I know that getting into the cannabis industry can be tough because not a lot of people still see it the way you see it or anyone else in the cannabis world seen it. Some people still think that it's bad for you. It's a drug. It can kill you. You shouldn't be taking it and keep it away from our children. So Now, what issues, or should I say challenges, that you face when you decided to enter that industry itself? And what did you do to actually kind of manage it or even fix it on your for yourself?
Right. So one of the biggest issues with cannabis is that because it's still federally illegal but state legal, banking is almost impossible. There are some banks, they have very, very heavy burdens if they're banking cannabis because of the federal laws. And it's a very cash based industry. That also means that things are tight and that while people value my services, they don't always value my price point, which is fine. I'm empowered to make it work, not empowered to not make it work. So we do figure that out. But that's been one of the hardest things is that kind of catch 22 of not being able to take a loan. Therefore, you have to get investor money, right? And jumping through the hoops of the regulations and the things that you have to do. Two drivers in a car, body cameras, locked storage,
Oof.
daily inventory, depending on where you are and what aspect of cannabis you're working in. So that can make it very tough. So I try very hard to ensure that the people that I'm working with understand that while there is a cost to me, that the offset is that they're going to flow through their process and that in our case with 1620 in our experience looking at average times of operations, we because of our experience, what we know and how we do it, we take about 60 days off that process. That's 2 months rent
Ooh, yes.
versus 2 months of nonprofit. So really working with people to say, look, we know this, we know how this works. Our advice is going to help you be more successful and get you open 2 months earlier or get you to sales 2 months earlier.
So, in other words, you'll help them move, the company help them move a lot faster. So
Absolutely.
the process for them get a bit faster because they have professionals that knows the things, what they're talking about, that can guide and hold their hand, say, this is wrong, this is right. Don't go this way because the last client that tried that didn't work. Let's try
Right.
this right instead of that one.
Yep. And we know a lot of people. We know lawyers, we know bankers, we know insurance agents to underwrite it because you still have to have business insurance, you still have to have
Yeah.
workers' comp. We're familiar with all of that, not just the rules, but the people who are ancillary businesses to the cannabis industry.
But the most important thing when it's come to business is the connection.
Yes.
That is priceless. You can't pay for that. Because
No.
if you don't have connections, it can be a lot harder to move forward. And that is something you're providing that is for any business that's very valuable. That's very valuable. So now, how can someone start with you? What's the process of that? Start working with the company.
They just need to give us a call and let us know what they're trying to do. And then we'll put together a package for them on, hey, you need X, Y, and Z. We can do X, we can do Y, we can do Z. This is how we do it. This is how long we think it'll take. And we'll put a dollar price on it. And then negotiations begin.
So now, is it online or can it also be in person if the client is locally in your state?
We travel all the time. So that's honestly, in person is the best way because, again, to your point about connections, networking, understanding, seeing layout, so on and so forth. So we travel all over the place. But yes, having a cup of coffee, talking about things, getting to that point, coming to see, verify, and then we have many clients who sign up with us year after year. Our services, kind of after you're launched, adjust, but we come in and we do quarterly audits. We do your annual inventory audit so that you turn that into the state and say, yep, for the whole year, this is where our inventory has been. We've been on top of it. We know what we're doing. We have our processes. If there's a reg change, we notify you. We help you update your necessary processes, come in and do training. Every state has mandatory training that has to be done. In some cases, you have to be a certified trainer or a registered trainer with the state for the curriculum. We offer that as well. So really any stage in the life cycle for the business, we're right there.
So pretty much it's not like a one-time thing. You don't just come in and do this, la 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 la. Nice to meet you. Goodbye. See you again.
Right.
Probably never. So you guys can come in and stay there for as long as they need you guys.
We're almost like a fractional chief compliance officer, so that you don't have to have that headcount. You don't have to have that overhead. You don't have to have that retirement plan or medical plan. You can have us, and we will answer the phone, come and visit, give you the regulatory updates, make sure you're on top of it, do your audits, those things.
Well, I appreciate you so much, Melissa, for giving me so much information about the cannabis world. I didn't know much, like I said. So that is not my world. As much as business is my world, but cannabis world is not mine. But when I listen to other people like yourself talking about it, it changed my perspective of it, because what I've been hearing is something completely different. But when you hear it to the people that's actually doing it, that's in that world, and it's a huge difference compared to someone they don't even know anything about it, just telling you it's bad. Don't touch that. Don't talk to people about it. It's just not good for you. It will kill you. So again, anything in this world can kill you. Ourselves can kill ourselves, because look at what we're doing to our own planet with all of these things. But again, this is a plant. So God put it there for a reason. We don't know what reason yet, but it was here for a reason. Perhaps it's to save our lives. So who knows? We see the future for it. But how can someone reach out to you?
They can hit me up at info@1620partners.com or Melissa at 1620partners.com. That will get us. You can check out our website, and we have a link there. And you can find us on LinkedIn at 1620partners, or you can find me on LinkedIn at Melissa Rutherford.
Well, thank you so much, Melissa, for giving me the chance to talk to you. Anything else you'd like to share with us today before I let you go?
No, thank you. It's been delightful. Just again, 1620partners.com. We look forward to talking to you.
Thank you for listening to Female Founders Podcast. That's it for this week's episode. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast app or connect with us on womel.com so that you don't miss our next episode. See you next time. Bye for now.